Welcome to Headingley. It's England, of course, the third game of the competition. It's very noisy. It's absolutely crammed to the rafters as England play tonight in this game against South Africa. And the late change in the England starting lineup is that Shaun Edwards misses out on the action. He is in hospital with a troublesome knee infection. Bobby Goulding comes in to the England starting lineup. There's also a debut in the fullback position for the England player Paul Cook. He, of course, plays for the Leeds club. It's Cook at fullback, Bentley, Pinckney, Mather and Offia, Powell and Goulding at halfback, Carl Harrison, Mick Cassidy, Andy Platt, Simon Houghton, Chris Joynt and Phil Clarke, Chris Radlinsky on the subs bench, along with Anthony Smith, Paul Broadbent and Dean Sampson. Will that late change make any major difference to this England team, Alex?
Well, I would think against any other team it probably would, but anybody's going to miss Shaun Edwards. But it's very, very important also that you've got a world-class standing as Bobby Goulding. Bobby Goulding, a lot of people are saying, should be in there in his own right. So what we're looking for today is, who'd have thought at the beginning of this tournament England were going into the third game unbeaten?
Well, that's a great situation to be in, of course. And not only that, there's a great crowd here at Headingley to roar them on. Already in the semi-final, of course, and we saw this afternoon Australia make their way to the semi-final where they face New Zealand, and there's going to be plenty to look forward to in this game. Martin Offia, his first appearance in this World Cup, he's missed out with injury. Bobby Goulding is preparing for the action, and it's Bobby Goulding. Bobby Goulding is getting ready to get the action underway. We've got a little bit of a hold-up, and the referee not entirely happy with something. And it's going to be South Africa, the Rhinos, to kick off. And we've already seen, of course, a game this afternoon at Huddersfield where Australia made it comfortably into the semi-final.
Yes, and I think it's going to be very, very important how England play tonight. They've had a very, very good start to the tournament, a great win against Australia, a great win against Fiji, and hopefully another win tonight.
Well, it's Houghton. It's his full debut tonight, incidentally, for England. He's come on as substitutes in the past. It's his full debut tonight. Simon Houghton from Wigan. Goulding already involved. And South Africa have got to get a grip on the tackling very early on in the game as Bentley falls under the challenge of DEVENTER.
I think it'll be interesting to see, Jack, how England take this match on, because Australia moved the ball out wide, scored a lot of tries against South Africa, but I've got a feeling tonight Tony Fisher have said to these lads, look, we've nothing to lose, let's get in there and knock them down.
Well, they've conceded plenty of points in the two games so far. Absolute rank outsiders, of course, the Rhinos, still learning the game. And there is an indication of it. That's a knock-on. And that is something they can well do without. Andrew Ballot it was who knocked on. And England straight away will get possession from the scrum and put the Rhinos, well, under the cosh.
Yes, and I think that's the start young Ballot didn't want. It was a very, very simple ball to take. He just took his eyes off the ball and put it to ground. This is a great attacking place for England.
Well, a bit untidy around the back of the scrum, but Goulding has already spotted the try line. Bentley on the charge, lovely ball. Well taken as well by Powell. He spins it out wide. England looking for early points and going well. Paul Cook, the local lad, turns the ball back inside to Powell. And South Africa have already been tested with their tackling skills. The big men piling forward, Carl Harrison. And this is a massive test for South Africa tonight. And here come England again. Early doors, could be points available here. Cassidy knocked on. South Africa in possession, and already that was a let-off.
Yes, it was, and that was a chance. We've got to take them chances. I think England, if they get on the score sheet early enough, could really run riot here, but they've got to settle down, just cool it and play a little bit six-man football and control the ball.
Well, they're certainly going to have a lot of enthusiastic England supporters roaring them on. We saw the link-up play there of Paul Cook, the local lad, of course, Alex. A big night for him.
Yeah, Shaun Paul Cook, he's had a tremendous season with Leeds. He's got into this England side on merit. He's an exceptionally great goal kicker. He's a very high-quality player, and he's got a big future in the game.
Well, South Africa have moved the ball upfield towards the England 20-metre line.
That was
and that's the kick that did it.
Well, that's a great kick. It's fully 50, 60 metres. Martin OFFIAH and Paul Cook just let it roll into touch, because England do know one thing: they're sure to get the ball from the scrum.
It's a great relieving defensive kick though, and his forwards will be pleased he's done it. All that walking around, and they've got 60 yards of progress there without having to do it the hard way. Martin OFFIAH, first piece of action for him in the 1995 World Cup. He's immediately smothered.
I think one good thing about what Tony Fisher will have instructed his lads, he'll know the players who they've got to pick out on the England side. People like Martin OFFIAH had a big point to prove tonight. He's not played in one of the matches so far. He's had a problem with a groin injury and a calf injury, so he'll be looking for a big game tonight.
Well, he knows the way to score tries, Martin OFFIAH, and could get an early running opportunity as well. It's Nick Pinkney. And they just about got back in time. The ball again from Powell, spins out wide. Goulding involved in everything in the early stages. Phil Clarke, early ball to BJ Mather, and it's been spilled, but play on, said the referee. Bentley cuts inside, and he's still going, John Bentley. John Bentley spotted a yard of space. Good ball back inside. Phil Clarke has knocked on. That's another let-off for South Africa. Well, the tackling was poor, and the gaps are already beginning to appear. Well,
we've got to say that is two glorious chances England put down. Tremendous play by John Bentley. I think Phil Clarke will be a little bit disappointed. He took his eye off the ball, and really, you've got to take them chances in this standard of football.
Just a word about Bobby Goulding, Alex, because this could be a big game for him tonight. If Edwards isn't going to be fit, massive game coming up, of course, at the weekend, already in the semi-final. This could be an opportunity for him, as South Africa already suffered a blow there. It's DEVENTER, KOBUS DEVENTER.
Well, I think also that that is a bad injury for the first minute of an opening match. But we're talking about Bobby Goulding. I personally believe that Bobby Goulding should be in from the start. I personally think that him and Sean Edwards should be the halfbacks. I think he'll give England another option. Bobby Goulding's on the top of his form, and I think if we do lose Sean Edwards, we'll lose nothing with introducing Bobby Goulding.
Well, South Africa have already lost the hooker, KOBUS van DEVENTER. His replacement is on, Francois CLOETE. And we've got a scrum down, and one fears the worst already, really, for the South Africans. They've already been mauled twice, really, and we saw one of the teams that did it this afternoon at Huddersfield. Fiji now out of the competition, South Africa playing for pride.
I think one good thing that we've got to do, England, in the early phases, they've got to take them chances, and they've got to put the chances away. You can't afford to create chances and put them to ground.
Well, it's the Rhinos in possession, and they'll be out to retain it as often as possible tonight. England moving up quickly. Phil Clarke. Been a good start to the game, though, nonetheless.
There's a very good ploy which the South Africans make, Jack. It's one of them when we have a scrum down. You notice they're scrummaging the very, very big, strong young men, and it's the first time ever they try to push the other side off the ball.
Well, there's a great roar of anticipation every time this man's in possession. It's Paul Cook, massive favourite here at Headingley. Thousands have come to see him on his England debut. Didn't make much progress there, but importantly, England still in possession with BJ Mather.
And I think that's a good start for young Paul Cook. He's had two tremendous runs, he's fielded the ball well, and that should settle him down in quite a little bit.
Platt. And already we've seen Bobby Goulding involved in most of the attacking action. And there goes Harrison, strides over the halfway line. And as we saw this afternoon with the Fijians, it's going to be a big test for the South African team when we get into the later stages.
Yes, it's important to outfit some of these men.
And there goes Martin OFFIAH. No forward pass. The ball comes back inside, and England, no forward pass. The referee, David Manson, from Queensland, Australia, ruled it out. And I was a bit surprised that Martin OFFIAH didn't try to score himself there. It looked as he might have had a yard of space on the outside. Well,
I think normally Martin OFFIAH would have finished that on the outside, but he has had this problem with the groin, he has a problem with the calf muscle, and maybe he's not quite 100% as confident as what he should be, but normally you would expect Martin OFFIAH to put them away.
It's a type of opportunity that he's scored from many, many occasions throughout his career. And South Africa are in possession again. Run the ball away from their own danger area, just beyond their own 20-metre line. England move up very quickly, though. Andy Platt to the fore with the tackling, helped by HAUGHTON. Here come the Rhinos again.
And as we saw this afternoon with the Fijians, they look a little bit laboured in the build-up, and that passing it is not slick, is it?
Well, what you've got to say about the South Africans, they really should be in the emerging nation side, but let's have a look at them in 5-10 years' time. You've got to give them credit for being in this calibre of rugby league. This is the very, very top. They've only just started playing the game, and I think eventually they'll get a lot better.
Well, the fullback that time closed down. He couldn't find a yard of space to bang it downfield, and now it's Martin OFFIAH, who's been booed by the Leeds spectators at Headingley tonight. And that's where the majority of fans come from this evening here at Headingley in the city of Leeds. But England move the ball again quickly down the centre of the field. Not a lot of running chances created so far for the Blacks, but that might alter now with Bentley. Used to play here at Headingley, so mixed reaction and response from the spectators for him as well. Cassidy from dummy half, turns the ball inside. Was that a forward pass? Yes, it was, and I think a bit of over-eager play there from Harrison, moved up a bit quick.
Well, I think that's a bit sloppy play. I mean, to overrun a pass on the first occasion, Phil Clarke's not very happy about that, and we can't afford to keep making them mistakes. You just look at the ball here. I mean, Kyle Harrison, I mean, there's two problems there. Should have Phil Clarke have passed the ball? He saw that the man was in an offside position. Maybe he should have thought about it.
South Africa bring it away. Baron Akima from round the base of the scrum. He's now going to the dummy half position. In possession again. He's got an option to his left and his right. He picks out the one down the centre of the field. It's a loose forward, John Mudgeway. And again, we've seen Baron Akima in that dummy half position. Support this time from the prop forward. Watts. And the substitute into the action. Francois CLOETE.
There's one good thing about the South Africans, they'll certainly not be short of bottle. They'll take the ball forward, not a lot of finesse, but plenty of strength and get up and go.
Well, we talked about the situation of England nilling teams. They nilled, of course, in midweek against Fiji. Already we've seen South Africa making progress to the edge of the 20-metre line, and it's all very scrappy and untidy. And it's a 6-foot tackle. It's a change and handover. Martin OFFIAH, well, that's a bad error.
Well, you've got to very worry about Martin OFFIAH. I mean, a lot of people are saying, you know, is this guy 100% fit? He looks as though he doesn't want to actually run full out with the ball. He was definitely in front of the ball again, and Bobby Goulding obviously thinking, well, Martin's the pace man outside me, I'll give him the ball, but he doesn't look too eager to take them passes.
Well, it was a comfortable pass which he put down, and South Africa trying to work the blind side of the scrum. Can't be very far off that far touchline. They work it back inside now. Williams. Again, the tackling's pretty good and efficient from England. But South Africa, the longer the game goes on, will definitely gain a touch more confidence.
Well, we had a difference, Australia playing this side at Gateshead, when the score after 10 minutes was something like 20 points. Now, I think we've got to draw our own conclusion to that. England really should have been on the score sheet by now.
Well, it's the Rhinos who are charging forward at the moment. Jaco Bussen leading from the front, and there's a fullback who links up. Little chip kick forward, that needs to be cleared, and eventually there's too much pace on the final kick through, so England get possession, and here they come straight away. Goulding.
I think if there is going to be a problem with England, they've got to realise that this is not going to be a pushover. They've got to do the basics right. They've got to support the man with the ball, and they've certainly got to finish the tries off, because if you take things for granted in this game, you're liable to fall on your face.
Well, it's not been the best of starts from England so far. A couple of opportunities created, but both missed. Here's HAUGHTON. Not much space for him. Seems to be a touch of anxiety about this England performance so far tonight. There goes Goulding, turns it back inside. That's better. Chris Joynt has got support on the left-hand side. Oh, he looked for Martin OFFIAH. OFFIAH had got on his shoulder, and that is not good rugby.
Well, that is not only good rugby, but what are we doing looking outside? All Chris Joynt had to do was look where Martin OFFIAH was. But why on earth did he come in off the wing? Is there something wrong with Martin OFFIAH? Why does he have to come in off the wing? All he's got to do, I've got to agree, He's coming inside, he'd no need to come inside, and I think Chris Joynes in the end didn't see him.
It was a complete breakdown in communications, there's no doubt about that, and another opportunity for England, goals begging.
Well, when you think that that's 4 golden opportunities, and I think Martin OFFIAH will not be too happy with the start of this game. He's got to start getting more confidence. He looks as though he's a man out of form, and he thrives on scoring chances, on scoring tries, and surely he's just missed 2 certain tries.
Well, certainly attacking-wise, England look a bit hesitant going forward. They seem to lack a bit of confidence, which is an unusual situation.
You can see how keen the South Africans officials are. They're quite clean, and there's one man. How he become a South African, I'll never know. Tony Fisher, definitely he is the Dewsbury coach.
There's no doubt about it. He's also the coach of South Africa, at least for the time being. And that's the changeover. 6th tackle. England back in possession.
I think if England are lacking something, there's too many people getting too near to play the balls, and even the crowd are getting a little bit irate. I've got to say one thing about this crowd. It is a magnificent crowd. They look something in the region of 17, 18, 19,000, and they are certainly supporting England.
Well, they've supported Rugby League as well, Alex. It's been a great reaction to this Rugby League World Cup competition. 7,500 this afternoon just down the road at Huddersfield. Tonight here at Headingley, no score as yet, and England looking to get points on the board with Houghton, but he's running in to really a wall of amber shirts at the moment. And South Africa, we've had 15 minutes or so. They'll be delighted by the start they've made. Andy Platt, though, now they've got to deal with him. Rolls over. I think England have got to try and speed it up, I think, a bit from round to play the ball. Goulding pots up the bomb. We're on the last tackle. Pierre Van Wyk underneath it, and he took that expertly, but he was allowed to do it. There was no pressure on him.
Well, again, it was a very, very good kick. It was a very, very poor chase by England. There was one man who got up there, and that was young Cassidy, and Phil Larder will be very, very concerned about this, because of the 2 coaches, Tony Fisher will be the happier man.
Houghton with the crash tackle. Platt along with Houghton this time. There goes a little grubber. England get possession. Bobby Goulding doing a good sweeping up job there behind that defensive line.
That was very, very good from Bobby. He put his body on the line there, and that was great play.
Bentley.
England are looking a little bit 6s and 7s, aren't they? There doesn't seem to be any link anywhere, and really we've got too many people in the wrong positions. We've got to have people moving the ball in wide. We've got Martin OFFIAH stood in field. Now surely that's not his position.
Well, there's 5 players there. You can literally throw the proverbial blanket over them, and that's not good rugby. They've got to try and open this game out a little bit and get the backs an opportunity to run. And there is one. And it's a loose forward, Phil Clarke, he's going in, surely, England are in! Nick Pinkney opens the scoring for England, and he says to the crowd, that's how easy it is, and it was easy in the end.
Well, not only was it easy, but this young man will be very, very pleased indeed. Nick Pinkney, his first try for England, and what a very important time to score it. A beautiful ball off Phil Clarke. It was simple, basic rugby. A lovely ball here, a lovely short ball. It's the ball at full stretch. Phil Clarke, he's got all the time in the world. Nick Pinkney on his support. All he's got to do is catch it and put it down. Great try.
The expression on Phil Clarke's face after he'd scored, if we see it again here, says it all. What a sigh of relief it was.
Well, just wait till he hits the ball. This is where you've got to play. Run into the gap, and this fella's got a lot of pace. He looks, he knows he's got support on his outside, releases the ball at the right time. Pinkney, that's a great time to score a great try.
And that's good centre play as well. Follow the man with the ball, that's your reward.
Well, I think we've had 4 chances like this, and it'd be very nice if Bobby can just pop this one over.
Well, you can't come much closer. It hit the post.
No, and that will settle England down a little bit. It's been coming for a long, long time. They've had a few near misses, and surely this is the try that should settle them down. A beautiful ball from Phil Clarke to Pinkney. All he's got to do, this kid's got plenty pace, plenty ability, and when he gets chances like that, he's certainly not going to waste them.
Well, a great moment for Nick Pinkney.
He looks
with the Keighley club, of course.
He looks as though he's got a touch of the gazzers there, and I think the demon barber's been at work, hasn't he, with a spray can?
Maybe one of the players. So England then strike first. It's taken them a touch longer than most people would have expected for them to do it.
Well, I think when you think about this game, a lot of people were saying we will pass the score Australia do. I've just got my doubts about that. I'd be just happy if England come away with a good performance.
Houghton, Cassidy, Goulding. And John Bentley is taking up some interesting positions, I think, Alex, at the moment. He's coming into the line all over the place.
Well, I think John Bentley's had a very, very good World Cup so far. He's running in the right places. He's looking for work. He's looking very, very eager.
This is a bit better from England, Andy Platt.
There's one good thing about these South Africans. They don't back away, do they, when they're going into tackle? They play the game hard.
We saw exactly the same response from the Fijians this afternoon, a 66 points deficit, but they still didn't take a backward step. They tire, that's only human nature, but their game, they're enthusiastic, and they're going to put everything they've got into this game.
I think what England have got to do is just draw them into them. People run into the gap. They're running at South Africa, they'll just love this.
Houghton. 4-0, England ahead. Try from Nick Pinkney. Cassidy from acting halfback. Goulding, handover comes to Powell, and in turn it's picked up by Paul Cook. Paul Cook, about 10 metres from the try line. And still this air of anticipation around Headingley when Cook gets possession. It's up in the air. England are in, or are they? No.
Well, I think that was very, very close indeed. Nick Pinkney was just a fingertip away from having his second try. This is very, very close indeed. How close was he to scoring his second try? It's a beautiful chip. He goes for the ball. It's a lovely little chip from Cassidy. Forwards now chipping the ball to the line. It's well flighted. Oh, dearie me, that's very, very close. He took it off him, actually on the floor.
That's great defensive work. Give him some credit. Andrew Ballett there did absolutely superbly well for South Africa.
Well, he did, because Nick Pinkney definitely had that ball in his hands, and when he went over the line, it was a try. When he went down with the ball, the South African had it.
And South Africa have it now. Again, they move up to that halfway line. Just scramble into the England half of the field. Midway stage in the first half here at Headingley. 4-0 to England, and that's not a good kick. England will get possession once more.
This Perry Van Wyk can half kick a ball. He's got one of the biggest boots I've seen for a long, long time. He doesn't have to give the ball a little bit of spin.
And there goes John Bentley racing away down his right-hand side. He's just hauled down. Well, the tackling was poor there from South Africa.
You've got a bit of a problem
and Bentley
here.
looks to have a hamstring injury.
Yep, that is a very, very dangerous problem. He knew as soon as he went the full stretch. He was very, very unlucky here, John Bentley. He's stretching out down it, he's going at full tilt here. A great tackle, but in that, I think he might have just seen a little twinge from the hamstring. Oh, yes.
Willem Boshoff, the tackler.
There's no problem with Bentley, is he? He's had a great match up to now. He's certainly going for the line here. Does he just overstretch? It's a great tackle, and he just gets a little tweak. Could that be very serious for England? It looks it.
Well, that's not a good sign, is it? It's not a good sight to see Bentley on the touchline. I don't think there's any doubt about it. It immediately looks to be a hamstring problem.
It's definitely a hamstring, and he was going at, like I say, he was going for the line. He was stretching out full there, and that's the time when you do just do your hamstring. He looks in a little bit of pain to me. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't whip him off.
Well, he's limped back on at the moment, or is he limping off?
Well, I think you'll find that John Bentley surely must have taken off. He looks as though he's in a little bit of pain to me. That doesn't look too good for England.
And that didn't look too good for South Africa either. That was Tim Fourie, who dropped the ball under no pressure at all whatsoever.
It'll be interesting to see what changes England make here and who goes on the wing, because...
My money's on Kris Radlinsky. He's on the bench, looking at the other people there.
Well, what a nice change for England to have a person like Kris Radlinsky to go on the bench. It's very, very important that he comes on. He's only a young boy, 19 years of age. He's had a tremendous tournament to Radlinsky so far, and surely he'll just slot in the wing.
Well, they've got the option as well, of course, realistically. There is Radlinsky.
who's on for John Bentley, but they have got the option as well, of course, to put KRIS Radlinsky at fullback and move Cook onto the wing.
Well, either way, both kids can play in either position, so it just shows you the strength in depth that England's got.
And here's Goulding as well. And Nick Pinknick really looks up for it tonight, but he's lost possession.
Yes, and he'll be a little bit disappointed with that. To lose possession on the first tackle is not too good.
Again, there seems to be that anxiety about the performance for me, though, so far. There's a large crowd here. England want to do well. They don't want to let the country down. They don't want to let the paying public down. And that, I think, is beginning to show in the play. They're a bit over-anxious. They need to perhaps have a touch more composure.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is trying too hard. I think they're trying to score every time they get the ball. What they've got to do is settle down and realise where the weaknesses are, because they're just trying to go down the middle and score every time they get the ball. That will never, ever work.
Here comes South Africa. We're over the midway stage in the first half, and South Africa trying to make progress towards that line, and KRIS Radlinsky, he was there, he was the man to cover the danger.
And it looks as though Radlinsky had gone to the full-back position, so whether they have put Paul Cook on the wing, we don't know, but Radlinsky was certainly in the full-back position, and he did it very well, didn't he?
He did. He looks very comfortable there. He's still learning. I think he's only played about 35 or so first-team games for Wigan.
But he has got a lot of ability. He's 19 years of age with plenty of ability, and when you're that age, you can only improve.
Well, England will be looking to improve on the scoreline. 4 points to 0. They're in front at the moment, but they haven't so far really impressed. Bobby Goulding trying to split up the broken play, and Goulding was unlucky. But the fullback's there again, and I do like the look of Pierre van Wyk. He's been the man again there for South Africa. He's read the situation pretty well.
Yes, and South Africa again have lost the ball on the first tackle. Now, this is what they did consistently against Australia, and in this level of football, you cannot afford to lose the ball on the first tackle.
Well, they were punished against the Aussies. They haven't been punished fully here so far tonight.
What's worrying me about this England side is that both half-backs are turning the ball back inside. I've got a feeling about Powell. I think he's going to be a loose forward and nothing else. I don't think he's got enough pace to really be an out-and-out number 6 at this level.
Cassidy from acting half-back. Goulding running wide, turns it inside. Again, there goes Barry John Mather.
See, again, the ball is turned back inside, and we've got people like Martin OFFIAH on the flanks. What's good having him on the flanks when we've got the ball inside every time?
Well, that's sloppy. There's no other word to describe it.
Well, that's bad play from Martin OFFIAH. He worries me very badly when he gets in these positions. He goes to action half-back, and he runs himself into touch. This is bad play. The ball should have gone back inside, and Martin will be disappointed with that.
Well, a player of his experience should really know better and should be able to do better. It's his first game in the World Cup, though. He's out there looking for tries. England ahead 4 points to 0. That try so far from Nick Pinknick.
Yeah, and for the people who are turning on to live television, I think it's not a misprint. It is actually England 4, South Africa 0.
Well, it's a surprise to us because we were talking about a pretty comfortable winning margin for England. It hasn't materialised so far, partly due to a below-par performance from England and partly due to, probably, I suppose you have to say it, that this must be the best performance of the World Cup so far from the Rhinos.
Well, South Africa are playing with a lot of pride, but it just worries me about the formation of this England outfit. You know, they're driving the ball up the middle. They've surely got plenty pace outside, and we've got to start using that pace.
They've got to get the ball to do it. They should get it now. We're up to the sixth tackle, rather. And there goes, again, the long kick downfield. And Cook will collect it, as we suspected. Looks like he's gone on to the left wing, replacing the injured John Bentley. And there goes KRIS Radlinsky.
This kid's got a big future. He's a tremendous player. He's got a lot of enthusiasm, and every time he gets the ball, he wants to take it forward.
Powell, well, he was lucky, Powell, but he's got the ball away now to Pinknick. Good tackle again. The man who was there for South Africa was Pierre van Wyk. Another crunching tackle from the fullback, but he's out of position now. He'll do well to get back from this. Good ball from Chris Joynt to Clarke. But again, Clarke hands it over as well to Platt.
Again, look where the ball's finished up. A ball back inside by young Powell. Surely we've got to move this ball out wide. It's no good turning the ball back inside every time we get it.
Kick for the corner, the chase is on. And it's won by Guy Kume.
He's also got Martin OFFIAH for offside. He said he was in an offside position. It does worry me a little bit each time. I think we've got plenty of pace on the flanks, we've got plenty of pace in the centres, and why on earth are we turning the ball back inside every time? Just watch the ball again here. A lovely kick from Bobby Goulding, and Martin OFFIAH has been adjudged to be offside.
Well, the scoreline worries me at the moment. We've had over 26 minutes and it's 4-0. England are ahead. Don't forget that try from Nick Pinkney, but not the score we expected. Radlinski runs straight back at the heart of the Rhinos' defence, and he's still going, KRIS Radlinski.
I think this kid only knows one way to go. He's got a tremendous amount of talent, and every time he gets the ball, he thinks, well, I can do something with this.
Houghton has burst through and will score right underneath the posts. And that time, the tackling was non-existent from South Africa. Simon Houghton, well, let's hope that try from Houghton settles England down.
Well, another 19-year-old Wigan superstar, Simon Houghton. I think he said to himself, look, I'm getting a bit sick and tired of this. There's only one way to do this. Take the bull by the horns. He's got tremendous pace, he's got tremendous class, and once he gets in these positions, there's nobody in this side going to catch him. One great try. Again, he gets the ball. Just have a look. When he gets the ball, determination on his face, just jink, strength. He's certainly got the pace. He knows once he's cleared the lines, there's only one result. Good try, and that's just what England needed.
Goulding to tag on the extras with what appears to be an absolute formality. Simon Houghton, plenty of Wigan supporters in the crowd. They'll be delighted with that.
Well, I think it started with two of the brigade from Wigan, didn't he?
No problems for Bobby Goulding.
I think when you have Bobby Goulding just saying there to him, Simon Houghton, look, let's get concentrated, lads. We're making too many simple, basic mistakes. Radlinski's got the idea, he takes the ball forward. Now look at this. This is a second row forward, 19 years of age. This is his first full game for England. He's going to do his country proud, and he's certainly going to do himself proud. This is one good try for a young fella with a very, very big future.
And didn't he enjoy it? What a great situation it is, representing your country at the age of 19 in the World Cup and heading for the semi-final.
Yes, I think that's the problem. When people say, what is the difference between Wigan youngsters and everybody else? That is the difference. It is called class.
10-0, restart by Pierre van Wyk for South Africa as the mist begins to descend a touch around Headingley, and Phil Clarke again drives away right at the heart of that South African defence. That's where the score came from a few moments ago from Simon Houghton. It's taken up now, but the referee spotted an infringement, and that, I think, is a penalty to England.
Yes, it's a penalty, and I think Phil Clarke's got the right idea. He's hitting the game with pace. He's running into the gaps, and I think what we're lacking at the moment is just support play.
See if we can put it right here. Harrison. Cassidy. Goulding offloads to Powell. Again, the pass didn't come out, did it?
Not really. I think there's a yard of pace lacking, when he gets the ball.
KRIS joined. Tackling better on that occasion from South Africa. It needs to be. They're under pressure now with Goulding. Goulding is going to stride in. Bobby Goulding is going under the posts. He had an unhappy time when he was a player here at Leeds, but he'll be delighted with that.
Yes, and not only will he be delighted about that, he's just give Phil Larder another nudge and saying, well, look, I'll give you the opportunity, leave me out if you dare. This kid is playing at the top of his form, he's playing exceptionally well for St Helens, he's playing exceptionally well for Great Britain. I think this guy is a must for the next game. When he sees confidence, he's riding high on confidence, he just jinks inside and just plops it down behind the post. That is a great try from a great scrum half. Again, Bobby Goulding, he holds the ball, shows it to him. He knows when he's in this position, there's always a possibility of scoring a try.
And there's a distinct possibility now that Bobby Goulding will add on another 2 points. And that means he'll have 8 on the night, England have 16, and all of a sudden the scoreline looks a lot healthier. 16-0 in favour of England. And you can tell he's smiling, even though wearing a gum shield.
Well, I think what you will say now is that Phil Larder will not be too happy about this, but once you get a little fella like Goulding in this position and people running at him and running in different ways, there's not some very good tackling by South Africa there, but he only had one aim in mind. That was to do what he was going to do best, and that was score the try.
Well, you can't do much more than that. England have now got 3, Pinckney, Houghton and Bobby Goulding. As we see here, the latest try scorer. Everybody waited for the pass. Goulding saw the line and put the ball down.
I think Phil Larder will be a little bit happier. I don't think he'll be too pleased with all the mistakes they've made, but he will be a little bit happier as far as the score's concerned. There might be a situation now where South Africa are starting to feel the pace a little bit.
Phil Clarke. Beautifully timed pass across to BJ Mather and Martin OFFIAH. A lot of the spectators will have come to see Martin OFFIAH and no one else tonight.
Well, I think what they want to see from Martin OFFIAH, they actually want him to see. They want to see him run full out. There is a doubt about his fitness. There is a doubt about the leg, and until he tests it out fully, we'll never know.
Well, let's hope that we find out a little bit later. In South Africa have been found out 3 times wanting defensively. Radlinsky, that went forward, I think. Bounced off a player, and it's a scrum down. Head and ball to the Rhinos. Harris are not happy.
I think there's a lot of people in this side today playing for a place for the semi-final. You know, again, it was a bad miss, just overrunning the ball again, and that's a little bit careless when you come to think. You must take the ball with 2 hands.
It's taking on a similar performance to the one we saw this afternoon, in my view, from England tonight. Australia started. They were never going to lose the game against Fiji, but it wasn't that performance you expect to have the polish with it, and I think England have started in similar fashion.
Yes, and the one thing about it, when Phil Larder does get in the dressing room, we'll have a look at the angling errors. 9 for England, 4 for South Africa. Surely that should be the other way around.
All right, then, Lou, roll away, let him play it.
Tim Fury on that far side of the field. South Africa just edging the way towards that England 20-metre line. Platt doing the tackling.
I think if there's going to be any doubts about the way South Africa play this game, they're not going to vary the pattern of play. They only know one way to play, that's to drive the ball in. But there is a possibility in the later stages of the game that they are going to tire.
Well, they got the look there.
That's a bit of sloppy play again. Surely that should have been the England ball.
And South Africa are closer to the line than they've ever been in the game so far. That's the scrum half, Barend Alkema. And that's a penalty to South Africa.
And this will be the first points on the board. So again, I think England was a little bit lapsed there. That ball, I think Daryl Powell should have been down on this ball. It was very, very sloppy play. It was a charge down. It was going to be a kick for the line. But you've got to take your chances in these places. Penalised them for offside.
Well, it's an opportunity for the fullback, who started off very impressively in the early part of the game.
I think
Van Wyk.
I think when you get the paper in the morning, I think 2 points looks a lot better than nil, doesn't it?
Well, he hasn't kicked it yet, and we saw this afternoon that the Fijians had a couple of opportunities like this, which they failed to convert, but it might give South Africa at least some encouragement. He's going to compose himself. It's a big moment for the South African. Bobby Charlton might have been pleased with it.
Well, I don't think he'll be too pleased with that, and neither will Tony Fisher. Not only did he not kick the goal, but he's not even kicked the ball dead, and that is an absolutely bad mistake. And here we have England again, who's lost the ball on the first tackle. Now again, that's 10 angling errors in a matter of, what, 30 minutes? Phil Larder will definitely not be happy about that.
Still 16 points to 0 in favour of England. They're heading for the semi-final with an unbeaten record. And it seems a long time now since that opening game at Wembley last Saturday.
Yes,
here goes South Africa, heading for that try line. It's with the scrum half again, Barend Alkema. And they're not too far away from the whitewash now, the Rhinos. England have got to move across very quickly. Cassidy with some tackling as well, with Chris Joynt joining in.
England have got to keep them out in this position. It's very, very important that they don't allow South Africa to cross the whitewash. They're in a very, very attacking position. They know what they're going to do. They can't do anything else when they just drive the ball in forward.
That's Jennings who spins it out wide. Not a lot of gaps there. England are moving across quickly to deny the running opportunities Jennings again decides to go it alone, and that wasn't the best decision he could have made because he's conceded possession. It was a 6th tackle. There goes the changeover. KRIS RADLINSKI.
But again, looking at the England side, there looks 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 players in the space of 2 yards. Surely, Phil Loudon, when he gets in, he'll just say to 1 or 2 of these lads, come on lads, this is not good enough.
Andy Platt. Well, it certainly hasn't been a points avalanche that a lot of people expected, and I think we did as well. Powell in a gap. Lovely offload from Powell to Chris Joyne. And now there's a chance for Martin OFFIAH. He's running again towards the touchline, steps back inside. Crowd aren't happy. Was that a knock-on? Yes, it was.
Well, it was a knock-on, and once again you've got to ask yourself, what is wrong with Martin OFFIAH? Why does he not go for the corner? It's all right turning the ball back inside. He has got a chance. I'm not saying he should have scored, but wingmen should go for the corner. He'd no intentions of running to the flag. And Pinkney puts the ball down, and that is another basic mistake.
And the handling errors move on to 11 for England.
He looks slightly overweight to me, Martin OFFIAH. It looks as though he's put a half a stone or a stone in weight on. He's definitely not running to his ability.
2 minutes to go to the break. All the second half, of course, still to come. And we saw an improvement from Australia in the second half this afternoon at Huddersfield. And from what we've seen so far, there's plenty of room for improvement in this England performance. 16-0 though ahead. Pinkney, Houghton and Goulding the scorers. South Africa in possession.
I think talking to Bobby Fulton this afternoon, he knows they have to improve, and he's saying that quite openly. And I think at half-time, Phil Loudon has got to say to 1 or 2 of these lads, so should we.
And here goes South Africa on the break now, right down the centre of the field, and that time Martin OFFIAH got it right. The smother tackle came in on Baron El Kima, and it was a good job he was alert to the situation. Chip kick comes in from Pierre van Wyk, but it only finds the touchline.
He doesn't look a bad little player, this fella, does he? He looks, he's very, very positive. He's quite happy about that. That was a lovely little chip from the little full-back. He's very active, actually, and he's a very strong kid.
He's seen a lot of the game.
And it's a typical South African name, isn't it? Pierre van Wyk.
Goulding. The typical English name, perhaps. OFFIAH. Out it comes across to BJ Mather, and again, he stepped inside, and the crowd are not happy.
Well, they're not happy because every time England have chances, they've got wingmen outside, and time again, the ball comes back inside. That is not international standard.
Clarke.
I think this fella's having a very good game. He's looking positive, he's looking sharp, and I think he's playing very, very well.
We're right on the half-time hooter as Powell makes a half break. He's got support from Chris Joyne. Chris Joyne is in full tilt. Martin OFFIAH, is he going to make it? It's a forward pass. It won't count.
And not only...
Well, I thought the referee had signalled a forward pass.
But again, Martin OFFIAH has been caught from behind, and how often would you have said that last year? Surely, I mean, the referee, you was right, Jack, that he has brought him back for the forward pass, but I have yet to believe that Martin OFFIAH is running at full tilt. I do believe that Chris Joyne should have had support on the right and on the left. It looks a forward pass to me, but again, Martin OFFIAH's clear here, and he's caught again.
The pass from Powell to Chris Joyne looks suspiciously forward as well in the build-up to that move, and again, there's this nervousness about the performance, and I really can't understand it from England. They're already in the semi-finals. Why are they not a bit more relaxed?
Well, they should be playing with gay abandon, shouldn't they, really? They should push ball about.
Well, not the half-time scoreline we expected here at Headingley, and certainly the crowd reaction says it all, really. England are ahead 16 points to 0. We'll be back for the second half live after this break.